All right, welcome back. So normally what I would do is create a copy of all of this and then flatten it out. But I think just to be safe, because we have this sheet metal piece in here, I'm just going to flatten this version of it. And yeah, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to unfold this deck and use that as my flat starting surface. So the first thing I'm going to go up here to Sheet Metal Tools, go to Modify and Unfold. This says Stationary Entity. This is what part of the fold that's going to be flat. So this is going to be the flat part. And then I'm going to click here to unfold all bends. And I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to move this off to the side. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm just going to grab to this right arrow and drag it out to the side and say OK. Now I'm going to actually base everything. I'm going to flatten everything off to this face. So I'm going to click back to my solid tools, and I'm going to do a move command. And when we did this, we have the sheet metal tool. It made it into what's called a component. That's why everything else is grayed out. And not a problem. We're just going to live with it for now. Now I'm going to do an align tool. And for me, I'm going to use the align tool so much right now. I'm going to go down here to the align. I'm going to click on these three arrows here and do pin to toolbar. That will put the image up there so you can quickly grab it. Or even better, I'm going to come here and do change keyboard shortcut. I've already done this, but you would just, in this space here, you would just, or just push the bracket or whatever button you want. I have bracket left, which is just above the enter key to the left. And that lets me choose the align key using the bracket left button. And so that makes it a lot faster. So here I'm going to do bracket left. I'm going to click on, this is the outside face. I'm going to click on this face, and I'm going to align it with this face. I'm going to zoom in and make sure it's aligned properly. And yep, it's inside of it. That's what I wanted to have happen. So now the faces are on top of each other. And now I'm just going to keep doing this all the way across. So I'm going to do left bracket, click, click, okay, left bracket, click, click, okay, left bracket, click, click, okay. Now I didn't care which side I clicked on those ones because they're all hidden, but I always want to click on the outside face because that's the face that I want up when I'm cutting. So this other one, I need to rotate this last side, I need to rotate my model around, hit the left bracket key, click on the outside face, and then click on this one. Now this one came over a little differently. Notice how it's sitting above the surface now? And that's because if you say, hey, I want to line up this outside of my hand with this outside of my hand, Fusion can do two things. It can rotate it this way and align the faces side by side, or it can rotate the other way and line them up face to face. And that's what's done in this case. It's rotated the wrong way and lined it up face to face. We wanted to rotate it this way and line it up side by side. So to get that to work out, if we just click the flip button here, it does. It works it right out. And we'll say OK. So that's all the inside materials down. I'm going to rotate around to the back side, and I'm going to say here, I'm going to use the align tool. I'm going to click on the outside face of the back and the top here. I'm going to zoom in to see if they are level with each other. And they look like they are, so that was a good move. And then I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit align tool. I'm going to click on this top and that one. Again, I'm just going to check. Yep, that worked out great. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to grab the base, which is 2 layers. I'm going to click here and, whoops, align tool first. Click down here on the base and then click here and say OK. Awesome. Now those are all lined up. The fact that they're clear doesn't really hurt anything. I know it looks weird, but it's okay. And then I'm going to hit the M key for move. I'm going to click here. I'm just going to drag this. Whoa. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to Control Z. I'm going to click on the top view. Make sure you're in top view. And then I'm going to hit the M for move key. And now I can just drag it over here somewhere. That's fine. I want to make sure I've got a clean edge. I'm going to actually drag it to the side here. I don't want this bottom piece to be any below this bottom. I'm going to be clearly above that bottom piece. So I might even just move it up a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to use the move command. Again, grab this one, drag it over. Looks good. Okay, and then M, drag the next one over. Now this is the top one. So actually I'm going to drag this one down. I like having a nice flat edge at the very top of my stuff and a nice flat edge at the very bottom, and that gives me that. So I'm going to move it to right there and say, okay, as long as it's not overlapping, I'm fine. Now that just means I need to move these down a little bit because I want this one to be clearly the highest point. And maybe that one's already done, but I'm just for safety's sake, I'm going to, whoops, I don't know what just happened. I'm going to move it down a little bit too. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to grab the rest. M move command here. If I grab this center point, I can actually just drag them all around here. Achoo. That's not going to work because it's too close to being on the bottom here. So I'm actually going to drag this up over here. It doesn't matter how far apart they are. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to do a move command, and I'm going to move this one, but this one I'm going to leave on this side. So I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to click it, move it there, enter. Ooh, I don't know what just happened. Control Z, there it is. I'm not doing a very good job today of moving stuff. Sorry. Enter, move this one. Not quite there. Yeah, perfect. Enter. And then I might even do this one. I'm going to do a move here. Oh, there's two pieces here. So I'm going to move, escape, move this one. And I'm going to do it down to here. And then I'm going to leave that one right there. I'm going to do a move and just put it right down there. Awesome. Enter. Now I've got my sheet. I got everything I need to cut. And then actually I'm going to turn off the coping. That's what's in the way right now. So I'm going to hide the coping. I don't need it to be part of this model right now. Okay. Now at this point, I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to create a sketch. Well, first of all, let me flip it to the side and check stuff real quick. Boom. Yeah, everything looks lined up nicely. I'm going to rotate it around and look from the bottom. So there's this two thicknesses. The base was two thicknesses. That's why it's a little extra thick there. But everything else looks lined up. I don't see anything problematic there either. Awesome. Tip it back to home. I think everything looks good. We'll know in a second whether it is or isn't. So I'm going to create a sketch right here on the deck face that I used as my flat side. I'm going to create, oh, that's not true. Control Z, exit out of that. I'm going to create a construction plane instead. So I'm going to create a construction plane right there, an offset plane. And I'm going to offset it a -0.1. This way it's just inside the surface of the plywood. I'll show you what it looks like from the top. So right here, see how my plane is just a 0.1 centimeter down from the top surface? So that gets me inside of the plywood. That's what I want to be right now. So I'm going to go back to the top view. And then I'm going to create a sketch on this orange plane that I just made. So now my sketch is inside the plywood. So now I can come here and do create a project include, and I'm going to do an intersect command. And what that does is says, and then over here I'm going to say bodies. Make sure you select bodies over here. What that does is it will draw a line wherever the object goes through the sketch at. So right here, you can see the red is what it's going to draw for you. So if you hover over something, the outline should turn red. If it doesn't, it means that it's above or below the plane and you need to adjust the alignment. Here's another one, and another one, another one, another one, another one. Those are all the cut lines for those edges. So I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to open my sketch folder, and we can see it just made this big old sketch right here. If I hide all my bodies, you can see now that I've just got this sketch. This is the lines the laser is going to follow to go around. So I'm going to call this one Layer 1. And we need one more thing. I'm going to hit enter for layer 1. Before we can use this in the next program, we have to know how tall it is because we're going to have to readjust its height when we get there. So I'm going to do a quick measure. I'm going to click on this top line, and I'm going to click on the very lowest bottom line. I'm going to zoom in to make sure I get the right one. So actually I'm going to hide the bodies so I'm not getting confused by the bodies. Yeah, so this is the lowest point right here on this purple. So I'm going to go from here to there. What did it just do? Yeah, that's clearly not right. Okay, so I'm going to try that again. I think I might know what's going wrong, but I'm hoping it's not what I think it is. So I'm going to do the measure tool again. I'm going to click on the top line, this bottom line. Okay, there we go. That looks good. I'm not sure what happened there. So 56.201, I'm going to put that in here with the layer name. So I've removed that number, 56201, close. I'm going to put it in here. 56, 201. I like to use commas instead of periods in file names because sometimes periods will cause problems in file names. Okay, so that's my layer 1. Now I need to make my layer 2 because in this case, I'm going to hide layer 1. Whoop, finish sketch first. Hide layer 1. And then when I turn my bodies back on, I can see that the base here is actually 2 layers thick. So I need an outline of the bottom layer as well. So that's my layer 2 is going to do. So I'm going to go back to the top view. And I'm going to create another construction plane right here on the surface. Except I want to drop this one down an entire thickness into the second layer. So right away I'm going to do minus TH, enter for thickness. And then I got to go a little bit more because I want to be in the second layer, not at the second layer. So I'm going to do minus 0.1 on top of that. So minus thickness, minus 0.1, that'll get us in the second layer, enter. Now if I look at it from the side, you can see what I've done. As I zoom in here, I'm just below that first layer, and this plane is going to cut through the second layer of that base. So I'm only going to be able to project or intersect this base in there. I'll show you what that means. So go back to the top view, same process as before, create a sketch, put the sketch on the construction plane, come up here and do create, intersect. Now all of these are all one layer, so none of them should be being intersected by that plane. The plane should be below them, the sketch should be below them, except for this one that's 2 layers thick. And sure enough, it turns red and the others don't. That's also a key to tell you that you've done things right. So click here, only that one will show up. You can click on all of them, there's no harm in this. It's not going to draw anything for these because they're not intersecting. And then I'll make sure it says bodies, and I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to call this one layer 2. And you can see it only drew the lines here. So if I hide the bodies, we only have lines for this one. All right. Next thing we're going to do is, find the height of this one. So now I'm going to hide the bodies again so they don't confuse me. I need the highest, from the highest point here to the lowest point. So I'm going to grab my measure tool. I'm going to go from this line to this line, 27,547. Close that and put that number here. 27,547. We're going to need that number later. Enter. And I think we're good. I think that's it. So we have our 2 layers saved with our drawings on them. And yeah, now we're ready to rock and roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save these 2 files as what's called DXF, which are the type of file we need for Inkscape for the laser cutter. So right click on layer 1, save as DXF. You're going to save this to the flash drive attached to your computer. I'm going to save this in my folders. So I'm going to come here to Fusion 360, TechDeck Skate Park Mini Ramp. And I'm going to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this DXF files. I like to keep my stuff really well organized. Otherwise, I have so many files that get lost pretty fast. And I'm going to save it here. I'm going to save this one as whatever I named it here. So layer 1 dash 56, 201. 56, 201. Awesome. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to do the same thing in layer 2. Right click layer 2, save as DXF, except I'm going to name it layer 2 and its measurement 27547. Whoops, that's getting carried away. Layer 2, oh my gosh. 27. Obviously, you should be using your numbers, not my numbers. You laid yours out differently than me. So make sure you're not just using my numbers. That's not going to work well in the next step. All right. So that's it for this video. We got that 15-minute mark. We'll go to the next video. I'll show you how to bring these DXF files into Inkscape to be able to get them ready for the laser, and then also to add some decoration to your ramp. You know, you might as well have some cool stuff on it. You can go find some graphics online and add them to your ramp and do something kind of special. Okay, have a great one, and we'll see you next video.